Hi guys, so I am here with Lucinda, who I'm sure you're all delighted to see because you've been missing her. But we just wanted to give you a couple of tips really. Obviously super conscious that we're not together in the studio. You guys are continuing with your practice at home, which is fantastic, but it does mean that we're not always on hand to give you those little tips and hints on how to perfect your poses. And for the most part, that's just important because it's all about keeping you safe. And sometimes when we misalign a pose, it can cause issues in terms of putting undue stress and strain into joints. So we wanted to look at some key poses, show you how to finesse those poses and how to make sure that when you're practicing at home, you're doing so safely. So what Lucinda is going to do is she's going to show you a version of the pose that sometimes we see in class that perhaps isn't having the desired impact that we want to have on the body in terms of strengthening it. And then we'll look at the stages that we go through in order to use muscles to support the skeletal system, keep the joints nice and safe. And one we wanted to start with is the backbend, because oftentimes, particularly when we're teaching, we're obviously cueing you and we're saying go back, further back, more back. Sometimes that's great because you're nice and strong in the posture and it's time to go a little bit deeper. Other times, by following that cue, you can do a little bit of damage to the body, in particular overloading the lower back. So we just wanted to break that down for you so that you know how to be practicing safely at home. So let's give it a go. So Lucinda's going to start off by showing us some of the things that sometimes we'll see in class. So I'm just going to talk her into the pose. Inhale, breath, arms overhead, palms touch. Interlock your fingers, release your index fingers, cross your thumbs, draw your shoulders down, squeeze your elbows in. Strong legs. Take an inhale breath, reach for the ceiling. And as you exhale, press the hip points forwards, lengthen up and out of the waist and begin to drop back. So what Lucinda's doing is she's following my cues, but it's a little bit of finessing that we could do. So her head has fallen all the way back. That's not great. It's going to make her feel a little bit dizzy, maybe a bit nauseous. Head is a really heavy weight. Her arms aren't really helping her out. They're not strong. She's got the heels of the palms together, but it's not really a strong grip. So there's no strength in her arms there. She's not engaging her bottom. She needs to engage her bottom in order to support her spine. I doubt her tummy is in. Is your tummy in, Lucinda?
No, it's just hanging out.
It's just hanging out. And I don't think her legs are strong either. So if you come back out, Lucinda. So she was doing what I asked her to do. She was coming back into a backbend. But in all yoga poses, we're looking to develop flexibility by using our strength. So if the posture isn't underpinned by strength, the end result is that your body weight just ends up in your joints. So in this case, it would have been Lucinda's lower back. And then before we know it, we're coming to yoga because we want to make ourselves fit and healthy, and the end result is we end up perhaps in a worse way than we were before we started. So we're going to break down that posture in stages for you. So same cues, feet together, press down through your feet, lift up your thigh muscles. So I want Lucinda's thigh muscles to be really, really strong. It is super important that your knees do not bend in this posture. Tighten up your bottom a little bit. So not super tight, you don't want to be squeezing it, but it needs to be engaged and switched on. And then belly button, so core contraction is important. She needs to scoop the belly button up and underneath her rib cage, which will start to lengthen her tailbone. So legs stay contracted, feet are pressing firmly into the floor. She lifts up the arches of her feet. That will help her to lift her thigh muscles. Nice tight bottom, shoulders down. And then on an inhale breath, raise your arms up and overhead. So the hand grip is important. Interlock your fingers, release your index fingers and cross your thumbs. So one of the things that we see in class is that the heels of the palms come apart. So press those together. And then if you're struggling to get the heels of the palms together, it's okay to bend your elbows. So sometimes bending your elbows will help you get that strong grip. Shoulder blades need to be drawing together down the spine, not up around her ears. She wants a lovely space between her chin and the top of her shoulders. Gaze stays forwards. Now strong arms as she squeezes her elbows in towards her ears. And then she takes an inhale breath and begins to lift. And firstly, what we're looking for is a length through the torso. So rib cage draws away from her hip bones as far as she can, as long as she can. Gaze can go high, but she's not throwing her head back. She wants to keep a little bit of tone to her neck. So if Lucinda had back problems, this is where she would stay. The reason being that the safest thing you can do with your spine is pull it apart. That will bring lovely juice, liquid into your spine, keep it healthy. That's the safest place to stay. You just think about lifting and lengthening. If she's healthy in the spine, which Lucinda is, we're going to go a little bit further, but the most important thing is she keeps her belly in super tight the entire time. So take an inhale breath, lift for the ceiling, and then as you exhale, lift up and out of the waist still, and as she begins to come back, it's as if she's coming up over that great big beach ball. So the most important thing here is this chest lift. Her bottom is still firing, hip bones press forwards, but her body weight's in her heels. Thigh muscles are strong. Arms are alongside her ears, seal the palms, chin lifts away from her chest as she goes back a little bit further. And then draw navel to spine, come all the way back out. Drop your arms down by your sides. So the most important thing in backbending is not to worry about the depth. Yes, we encourage you to go a little bit deeper because we want you to progress with every class. So you will hear us saying, go back, further back, more back. But that doesn't mean that you lose that very, very strong lower body, belly in. And the most important thing is that lift up and out of the waist, arms and ears staying together, head not throwing back, little bit of tone to the neck, chin drawing down slightly. And as you arch up and over, the entire spine is moving as if you're leaning over that great big beach ball. So have a practice at home. Let us know how you get on. You can always shoot us a little vid, upload it to Facebook. We can give you some technique tips and we'll help you out as much as we can virtually while we can't be in the studio together. Hopefully see you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.